Most people that become billionaires do so by starting their own successful businesses. Even if they're a brand unto themselves, like The Rock, it's difficult to join the 10-figure club unless you create a product that people buy or are extremely good at investing. Or, of course, inherit it like so many of them. Before the year 2000, you could count the number of billionaire celebrities on one hand, or more accurately, 3 fingers. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and Oprah Winfrey. Fast forward to 2023 and that number has increased to more than a dozen. Sports, Hollywood, TV, writers. More entertainers are joining the ranks every year. The overall number of entertainers on Forbes World's Billionaires list is still pretty small. For example, if you look at the sports industry category on Forbes' site, you'll see dozens of names. But most of them made their money outside of sports before eventually coming to own a team. Only a few of them were professional players, who then leveraged their name in the industry into other lines of work. Lebron James, Tiger Woods, Toto Wolff, and Michael Jordan. And of them, only James and Woods are still active. The story is much the same when you look at the media and entertainment category. Paul McCartney, Kim Kardashian, Jimmy Buffett, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Tyler Perry, Peter Jackson, Steven Spielberg, Oprah, and George Lucas. I would also include Tom Ford, who, in addition to being a fashion designer, is also a filmmaker. And then there are those that might join the ranks soon. Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds, George Clooney, James Cameron, J.K. Rowling, The Rock, Tom Cruise, Jerry Seinfeld, and more. Their wealth is in the hundreds of millions, with some, like Cameron, Rowling, and Seinfeld, being billionaires at one point or another before dropping off. While this is still only a handful, it's clear that something has changed since the 1990s and 2020s, or even the aughts and the 2020s. Why and how are so many entertainers becoming billionaires? The answer is pretty simple: investing and entrepreneurship. None of them became billionaires through their primary line of work, meaning Steven Spielberg didn't become a billionaire just by directing movies. Jordan didn't become one just by playing basketball. Ford didn't become one just by making movies and leading Gucci, and Jay-Z didn't become one just by making music. You'll notice that I kept using the word just. Whether music, movies, or sports, these were the professions that helped it make it so they could become billionaires. Without basketball, Michael Jordan wouldn't have signed a lucrative deal with Nike that made him more money than as a basketball player. The same for Tiger Woods and his sponsorship deals. Tyler Perry retains control of the Medea franchise, but he also has a stake in BET Plus and owns his own film studio that's been used to shoot films like Black Panther. Tom Ford made the bulk of his billions from selling his fashion company, Tom Ford, to Estee Lauder for $2.8 billion, but he was only able to start the brand because he helped turn Gucci around. It's what they did with their initial riches that helped each of them turn into billionaires. Sponsorships, investments, starting their own companies, and more. Peter Jackson is a good example. He's best known for directing the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which made him a very rich man. He earned $10 million upfront for directing each of the movies, and probably some points on the back end. And roughly the same for The Hobbit, though the upfront was pegged at $20 million. But more importantly, in the 90s he started Weta FX, a visual effects company that's worked on his own films, as well as movies like Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water. In 2021, he sold the tech assets of the company to Unity, which creates software to make games, for $1.65 billion, which helped push him into billionaire status. He owned a 60% stake in the company, which meant close to $1 billion payday for himself. The same for George Lucas, who sold Lucasfilm to Disney for $4.05 billion. Jay-Z and Rihanna both made a lot of money from music sales and touring, but their billions come from their investments. Rihanna founded beauty and fashion brand Fenty, while Jay-Z made investments in Uber and Block, as well as his champagne and cognac brands, Ace of Spades and Douce. Now there is a caveat to all of this. All billionaires are billionaires on paper. Their wealth is derived from earnings, investments, and holdings that, combined, come out to somewhere north of $1 billion. It's not liquid wealth. It's not as though they have access to all of it in a bank account. In order to access most of it, they would need to liquidate it, selling stock, real estate, or other assets. Prices fluctuate wildly. Elizabeth Holmes went from being worth $4.5 billion in 2015 to being worth $0 in 2016. Sam Bankman-Fried was worth $27 billion in October of 2022. A few weeks later, he was worth nothing. That's all to say that wealth can vary widely based on the market. Each of these entertainers were excellent at one area: sports, filmmaking, television, fashion, and were able to leverage that into opportunities that rocketed them into the stratosphere. They're all Renaissance men and women to an extent. It's not easy to make $1 billion even on paper. Still, impressively, they were able to achieve it.